What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful, beautiful, amazing day today. Bitcoin doing the same exact thing that it was doing 2 days ago. This is why I haven't made any videos in the past 2 days, because not much has changed. But finally, this could be it, guys. The calm before the storm. We have 24 hours until we could be expecting some massive Bitcoin volatility. Now, you can see right here that we are stuck between these two levels, most notably being below all three of these major resistances for Bitcoin. How long can we stay at these levels? Will we stay at these levels? Well, why are the next 24 hours so important? Well, number one, the obvious, the glaring thing that's happening tomorrow is that we are having the FOMC meeting. The Fed is going to let us know whether or not they are going to be raising by 50 basis points. Now, most people are anticipating that that's what they're going to do. However, markets do not like uncertainty, which is why we're really not seeing any movement. But it's not just that, my friends. We also have something happening traditionally for Bitcoin, a pattern that is forming right now that often does point to a massive breakout. And on top of that, we have a very useful indicator that has not shown what we are seeing right now for over a year. And the last time that we saw this, Bitcoin had a 150% pump to the upside. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. A lot is riding on the rails to tomorrow, but we do need to talk about that. And also, my friends, crypto regulation is in fact coming. And while everybody's been fearful and there hasn't been a lot of Bitcoin talk, especially on mainstream media, there is in fact some bullish developments that are happening right now that you need to know about. So we're going to talk about definitely what's going on in the short term. I'll let you know exactly what I'm expecting and my targets. And if all that sounds good to you, you know what to do. And friendly reminder, guys, there is 2 days left. If you want to get in on the MEXC bonus, you can use the link below. And even if you're not interested in the $1,000 giveaway or the $25 free for depositing, you can still get 10% off trading fees for life just by using the link below in the description. So without further ado, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, you know where that button is. Hit that button, turn on the bell notifications, and let's dive into the chart. Now, this is a chart that a 5-year-old could see right here, okay? So if we just take the trend that we're forming right now, you could see we have multiple points right here, okay? We didn't really reach up here, but this is essentially the top range, and these wicks, which is what I've been waiting for, is representing the bottom. Now, we had anticipated something like, you know, more of a quick wick to the downside. We never got it. Instead, what we got was a very, very slow bleed to the bottom. So ultimately speaking, if you were looking to put in a long, this would potentially be the area to do it. If you are looking to trade the news happening tomorrow, I will say this: trading news is usually not the best bet. You know, you really want to pay more attention to what's happening in the technicals. And if we just have a look at market cipher money flow down here, we're actually seeing, you know, on the daily that the money flow is coming potentially out of this red into the green. Will we continue to the upside? Well, that is yet to be seen. You notice that we are having a little bit of oversold conditions, but nevertheless, guys, if you do want to learn how to trade, friendly reminder, check out the tutorials popping up above. There's over $16,000 in bonuses below, but we are forming this pattern right here that you can see. Even if we do break below this levels, this is a traditional falling wedge. Falling wedges generally break out to the upside. So if we did have good news or at least neutral news come out tomorrow, we could see Bitcoin try to minimally at least get back up to around that $40,000 level, right? But the interesting thing is, having a look at the S&P, we do know that, you know, Bitcoin is trading like the NASDAQ, it's trading like the Dow, it's trading like the S&P 500. But considering how bad things have seemed in traditional markets, the fact that Bitcoin has actually held up as well as it has is actually quite commendable. We are still, in fact, putting in higher lows, and we are still in this upwards trending, you can call it a ascending triangle. You know, some people say, oh, maybe it's a giant rising wedge. That could be. That could be as well. You could also trim the fat off the top and bottom and say that we're in a giant bull flag. Doesn't really matter, guys. Ultimately, we came off this tremendous move from way, way, way down here when Bitcoin was around $10,000. We got all the way up to 64,000. We consolidated. We even put in a higher high along the way. And it's been a year and 4 months of consolidation for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin was trending to zero and it was completely useless and it was totally risk on, I would assume we would have seen a harder correction considering what's been going on. We've seen times of uncertainty in the stocks, just uncertainty in the past. And Bitcoin has fallen 70, 80%. We're seeing stocks actually in a bear market below 20% traditionally, and Bitcoin still chugging along sideways, right? The other thing to point out is if we actually have a look at the monthly, we're actually seeing a bullish divergence, right? So we're seeing the RSI falling while we're seeing the price rising, or at least putting in higher lows. So could we be looking for a massive move for Bitcoin? Now, before we get into the indicator that we have to pay attention to, over here, you could see that this actually came out from Crypto Quant, and they were saying that capitulation. So everyone's saying we have to have that big capitulation move. We have to have, the massive sell-off. We have to crash all the way down to 20,000. Well, they're saying that may not happen. Analyzing decreasing inflows to exchanges, Crypto Quant argues that traders were not readying themselves for a capitulation and wave of selling. Inflows dropped sharply after January this year, while outflows continued an increasing trend. Therefore, if the market continues to trend as severely as the media forecasts in general, and no terrible events are happening unexpectedly or unpredictably, the crab can be repeated, meaning sideways, but the capitulation may not occur. So it could just be another one of those boring sideways consolidations for even a few more months, more market participants getting bored out of their mind, leaving the markets while these guys are accumulating. And we know they are because I showed you in 2 videos ago that the asks compared to the bids are 3 times the amount as far as those looking to purchase at those lower levels, which means we are not seeing the sell side pressure. If anything, we're seeing the buy side pressure. We're seeing them defend these lower levels. And just as expected, we did have the DXY breaking out of its 5-year trend. It is starting to stall out. It is starting to lose a bit of momentum. And I did actually have some other lines on here. I took them off just because everybody was really paying attention to this, but you can actually see if we put those back on, essentially, okay, we did put in a higher high, but ultimately every single time we break above 100, which is this level right here, we have this fake out and it comes down crashing. We have this fake out and it comes down crashing. Well, we're sitting at 103. That's only 3 above 100. Now we're starting to stall out. Could this be a bull trap and the DXY is going to look to come back down and crash again? Well, I did speak about the fear about this moving average, very critical. We just want to be realistic, look at both sides of the coin, pun intended, right? We are sitting below the 600 DMA, and historically, every single time we fall below this, we do have a massive crash, right? However, we do know that things are a little bit different. And one thing that I want to point out, just talking about the DXY, we often measure Bitcoin against the US dollar. We compare it against the dollar, right? That is generally how we talk about these price targets. If we go from top to bottom, currently right now, Bitcoin is actually sitting down around 44.3%. But here's something interesting. Does this chart look familiar? Well, it should because it's the Bitcoin chart, but it's the Bitcoin chart compared to the euro. Now, while we're down 44.5% in dollars, how much are we down in euros? Well, it's actually only down 39.23% if we have a look at how Bitcoin is compared to the euro, which means that Bitcoin is actually performing better if you compare it to the euro. So this is showing us that really what's happening is it could be a bit of a facade. Is the dollar actually getting stronger, or is it just the simple fact that they decided to just turn off the money printer for a few months, and now compared to these other guys that are still printing the money, well, maybe the DXY could look like, or the dollar could look like the place to be parking your money, parking your capital, but really, it's just the lesser of two evils, and that's something that we have to pay attention to. So, number one, what do we have coming up tomorrow? Big thing, the Fed is looking to likely raise rates by 50 basis points. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people are expecting this. They're also expecting more hikes to follow. In fact, they think that it could exceed 3% by 2023. However, this is the quote from Powell. During the IMF panel discussion, Jerome Powell insisted that getting inflation back to the 2% goal is a critical policy imperative right now. He noted that it is absolutely essential to get price stability as means to achieve both labor market stability and overall economic stability. Now, he added, our goal is to use our tools to get demand and supply back in sync without a recession. Meanwhile, he noted that one or more rate increases of 50 basis points each are favored by several FMOs or FOMC members, but he would not disclose his own position. So ultimately, they are expecting the rate, so that's not uncertainty. They are expecting 3% by 2023, and Powell says he is trying to avoid a recession. So this is telling me that if things start to get too bad, get a little bit crazy with their boys over at the S&P, right, over in traditional stocks, if we just take all this off right now, you're noticing that, I don't even know how much they're down right now. I haven't measured it in quite some time. 13.46%. So I guess technically it's not in a bear market if you're looking at the S&P, but if it gets down to some of these lower levels, do you think that the US is going to let their ego get in the way? They might, guys. They might. And they may end up turning back to a dovish stance on the market. So that is something we need to pay attention to. Now, here is something incredible. First thing, which I didn't even plan on talking about, we are sitting exactly at the largest VPVR line right here, which is the most traded area for Bitcoin. This is a hot zone, guys. This is a big level for Bitcoin. We have seen a lot of Bitcoin change hands from both the traders and the buyers. And I showed you that we had a 3-to-1 comparison on the buying end, which is telling us that although we have seen outflows increase and we have seen volume decrease, we've seen bigger orders of millions of dollars, huge players setting up, taking the opportunity to accumulate at these levels. But what is this right here? Well, this right here, guys, is the Bollinger Bands. And you could see with your own eyes how tight we are getting at these levels right here. Let me actually turn the VPVR off. We don't really need this anymore, and it's just kind of getting in the way of showing you guys what's going on. So you can see how tight this area is getting here. Now, when we have the Bollinger Band getting as tight as it is, that is when we expect very large moves. So for example, back here, you can actually see that we started having this tightening right here in July. And keep in mind, we were actually sitting below, this basis level right in the center. And what happened? Boom, massive pump, let's actually do from bottom to top, 134% pump off of this level. Now, I want you to point out that, okay, the structure was different. In this, for example, this, we were trending downwards. Here, we're trending upwards. But ultimately, what I want to point out is that we were sitting below the basis. Everyone was bearish. Everyone was calling for lower levels. We had very, very tight bands. You could see every time, look at these tight bands down here. Look how this was here. Boom, massive breakout to the upside. Even when they got tight at the top, massive breakout to the downside, right? And every time it broke to the downside, we had a fake out outside of the Bollinger Band sitting above the basis level. Boom, we went to the downside. What did we have down here? Fake out to the downside outside of the Bollinger Band sitting below the basis. Boom, move to the upside. Okay, are you seeing a pattern? What do we have going on right now, guys? Currently, we are still technically sitting inside of the zone. We have fallen out of it a little right here. We are sitting below the basis. And we do have a very, very, very tight band. So this is why I'm telling you guys, it is the calm before the storm. I do believe that a lot of eyes are on what's going to happen tomorrow. And it could be an opportunity to actually trade if you guys want to. A lot of people make money off of stuff like this, just literally turn on the news to, 2 p.m. or 2:30. I don't know when Powell's going to officially release the statements, and just wait and see what they say. Wait and see if, some insiders have some information. As soon as you get that, if it sounds negative, price is probably going to go to the downside. If it sounds neutral or just what people are expected or even slightly more dovish, good chance is we're going to see a pump to the upside. So you could play that, guys. Friendly reminder, if you want to learn how to trade, check out the tutorial popping up above. I don't recommend trading news events, but some people do it and some people make a lot of money. I mean, look at how many people went long on Dogecoin the day that Elon Musk bought Twitter. Right? I missed out on that opportunity. I was actually a little pissed about that because I was thinking about it. But you can trade news events. They're not always recommended. But let's talk about the positives because there's not much else to say right now until we get that information tomorrow. But it is still looking quite bright, my friends. The future is looking bright. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is predicting that 1 billion people will have used crypto in the next decade. As a matter of fact, if we just simply have a look right here, Documenting Bitcoin has pointed out that the Bitcoin growth is actually growing faster than the adoption of the internet. And we always compare Bitcoin to the internet adoption, and we know how exponentially insane the internet blew up, right, from the 90s essentially to the early 2000s. And if Bitcoin is following this, you have 80% average yearly growth. And then if we slow down around this area, you're seeing 33% yearly average growth. So, documenting Bitcoin says that we are still right here. We have a lot more to go in the growth of Bitcoin. It's only estimated that 10% of just the US alone has dabbled in Bitcoin, and we still don't have a lot of those big players yet. So we had Brian Armstrong talking over at the Milken Institute Global Conference, and he said, my guess is that in 10 to 20 years, we'll see a substantial portion of GDP happening in the crypto space. He was also joined by Kathy Wood, who said in the case of DeFi and next generation internet, we are seeing a lot of financial companies losing talent to crypto. Both Wall Street and various government agencies have lost employees to crypto companies in the last year. Wall Street have to take it seriously, or else they are going to be hollowed out. Last year, you had Coinbase COO touching on the potential impact regulation will have. But she said that she was confident that increased adoption will occur. We've hit mainstream adoption. We've had more than 50 regulators alone in the US, and we can navigate that and we can embrace it. We've always leaned into regulation, but for the crypto ecosystem to thrive, we need to have fair rules, we need to have transparency, and we need to have more clarity. Well, speaking of more clarity, my friends, the SEC has disclosed that they've almost doubled their size of their employees, responsible for protecting investors, etc. You know what those guys do. They protect you. You can put all your money on black at the casino, but don't buy these altcoins. Oh my goodness. So now they have a total of 50 experts on the SEC, and Gary Gensler, chairman of the SEC, argued that the US has the greatest capital markets because investors have faith in them. As more people invest in crypto, it is increasingly important to dedicate more resources to protecting them. By nearly doubling the size of the key unit, the SEC will be better equipped to police wrongdoings in the crypto markets while continuing to identify disclosure and controls issues with respect to cybersecurity. And we also have two committees of the Hawaiian state legislature unanimously approving the launch of a specialized task force to explore, use, and regulate the crypto ecosystem. So this bill right here, or at least these are the people that signed it, the record of votes, I should say, it's not the actual bill. So it's titled, A Bill for an Act Relating to Cryptocurrency, sought to establish a task force within the Department of Budget and Finance to review and compile countrywide data on crypto and blockchain. The task force would submit findings and potential legislations back to the state capitol, which involves providing a plan to expand blockchain adoption in both private and public sectors. And also, could Argentina potentially be the next country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender? We've seen it in El Salvador, we've seen it in the Central African Republic, and now we have Banco Galicia, I think it's pronounced, Argentina's largest private bank, stating that it will allow customers to invest in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies through a range of new investment opportunities. Now, currently, take it with a grain of salt, they're only allowing them to purchase and trade crypto. You can't withdraw and send it, so that's a bit of a bummer, but it is still providing exposure. The bank has a total client base of over 4 million retail and business customers. It operates over 600 branches, offices worldwide, and the company intends to roll the product out within the middle of the month. Now, according to data provider Deal, Argentina has more employees, this is an interesting fact, by the way, more employees who are paid in cryptocurrency than any other country in the world. The number of organizations that allow their employees to receive payments in digital assets has increased by more than 340% in the last year. And just to kind of reiterate, last year in August, when asked if he would follow El Salvador in legalizing Bitcoin, Argentine President Alberto Fernandez answered, "I do not want to go too far out on a limb, but there's no reason to say no." So ultimately, while everyone is sad and crying because Bitcoin is down and stocks are down, we have a lot of bullish developments in the background. So like I said, guys, we have actually touched the level that I was looking for. I was anticipating more of a rapid, move down like we have here and here. This has been a little bit more of a slow bleed, but we are finding some support on this level. It could be an opportunity for a long. You could be seeing Bitcoin coming back up at least to that $40,000 to $42,000 level. If we do have neutral to dovish news come out tomorrow, then like I said, we do have Bollinger Bands tightening. Last time they were this tight, we pumped 150%. Are we going to go that high this time? I don't know, my friends. Keep in mind, if we get that bad news, boom, we're coming down right here, probably to that 34,700. If we have good news, I still think my $44,200 level is still on the target. I'm sorry, 44,600. So let me know what you guys think. And obviously, friendly reminder, 2 days left for the MEXC Global giveaway. If you guys are interested, they are US friendly. You can withdraw up to 10 Bitcoin, which is pretty cool. Even KuCoin has, brought it down to 1. I think Binance is like 0.06. So that's really cool. And 10% fees for life if you use the link below. 2 days left. Check that out, guys. Let me know what you think about everything below in the comments. Pleasure to see you back on the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos every single day. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. And make sure, if you want to learn how to trade responsibly and profitably, obviously get subscribed to the channel. We go over these whenever there's important things we need to pay attention to. And make sure that you watch either of these videos popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.